Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for February the 20th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, this is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know from the industry we both love. And today we have tons of Animal Crossing conversation to break down. Now, I will say, before we dive into everything revealed during today's Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Direct, I have no interest in this game at all. I will not be buying it. I don't own a Nintendo Switch, and I've never played an Animal Crossing game for more than 5 minutes, but hey, it's a very big game with a lot of interest, of course, coming up on the imminent release date, so it's worth talking about, and it's worth that headline spot on today's show. On top of that, major gaming names have pulled out of GDC. Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2 has launched. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to another streaming platform near you. And finally, I've got some freebies from the Epic Games Store to fill you in on, just in case you didn't already know. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this Nintendo Direct Animal Crossing news. First off, Nintendo detailed on Thursday all of the features and customization options that will be present in Animal Crossing New Horizons during a direct presentation. The game, set to be released for the Switch on March the 20th, will bring players to a new island setting. Players can choose what shape they want their island in and if it will be placed in the northern or southern hemisphere. The northern or southern hemisphere will cause seasons to happen at different times, and each season will change the look of the island and change which plant life and wildlife will be available. New Horizons will start by giving each player a tent, and later they can own a house that will have to be paid off. The outside and inside areas can be fully customized with furniture and decorations, and extensions on the house can also be made. Progressing further into the game will net players a construction permit, and the permit will open up the ability to lay down different forms of walkways and concrete. Players will also be given a smartphone that will include a number of helpful apps, including a map, a helicopter rescue service, and a way to track how many miles have been traveled. The miles can then be exchanged for different items and bonuses. Each island can hold up to 8 residents, and players will need to look out for dangerous insects such as wasps or scorpions, which will attack. Ghosts can also be encountered while exploring the island at night. An airport can be accessed that will bring players to new faraway islands that offer unique items and chances to explore exotic locales, and the airport is where players can connect online and visit each other's islands as well. New Horizons allows up to 8 Nintendo account holders to play on the same island at the same time through local wireless play or online play, and up to 8 players can live on the same island within one game, while 4 players can play at the same time locally on the same Switch console. Nintendo announced that Animal Crossing New Horizons will receive free updates throughout the year that correspond with holidays, and new playable events will also be added in the future. A real-world Animal Crossing app will be released in March that will allow voice chat and texting in the game. Sounds like they're making their own Animal Crossing Discord, in my opinion. But of course, that is pretty much the lineup of features coming to Animal Crossing New Horizons. My co-workers that are very into Animal Crossing seem to enjoy the Direct a good bit. They're both very excited about the overall game release and overall the direction it is trending in. So on March the 20th, if you want to dive in, there are some features right there for you to look forward to. Now, if you did want to check out the full Nintendo Direct, it's only 27 minutes and 47 seconds long, and it's up now on the Nintendo YouTube channel if you did want to actually sit down and give it the full rundown, and it would be worth your time if you are into that kind of thing. However, let's get into some of the more granular details here, because this is something that was getting a bit of bad publicity after today's show. Animal Crossing New Horizons can recover a lost save once. Nintendo gave Animal Crossing fans a deep dive into the features and systems of the franchise's upcoming Switch release, New Horizons. This presentation today included an interesting tidbit about recovering lost save files. Specifically, you can actually do it. However, some bizarre restrictions apply. New Horizons launches on March the 20th. This life sim is Nintendo's biggest release for the part of the year, and as in past Animal Crossing games, your save file is important. The experience is all about a persistent world that evolves through your effort and time. Animal Crossing New Horizons will not offer cloud saves. Instead, your file is tied to your Switch, and you can't ever move it to another console. This is bad news for fans who want to play on multiple Switch systems, but it's also scary. If something happens to your save file or the Switch that you're playing on, you could lose many hours of progress. Well, Nintendo reassured fans that under extreme circumstances, players will be able to recover backed up save files from Nintendo's servers. We don't know how this works. The feature also won't be ready for a launch, so try to be careful and not drop your Switch until it is. According to some fine print, recovering save files will also only be available for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, and you can only do it once. You still won't be able to transfer your save from your Switch to your Switch Lite though, which is a huge bummer. Now, with that being said, this is some news that began to get some circulation as soon as the Direct ended, and this is actually pretty accurate as far as I can tell. The general idea here is that for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, you can recover your game save. It is saved in the cloud, but you can only recover it once. And part of me understands and part of me says this is a horrible move. The part of me that understands identifies with the fact that Animal Crossing is supposed to be a game that values the amount of time that you put in. They are going to be avoiding the date and time hacks that have become pretty common in the world of Animal Crossing, where you adjust the time within the system and you can unlock tons and tons of stuff later on through that easy little gimmick. And so that is what's probably trying to be avoided here, something along those lines. They want you to really feel the grind of Animal Crossing, and I think that's kind of what they're going for with this cloud save restriction. Now, the modern gamer in me says, what the hell? Cloud save should be a go-to foundational part of every experience because of the fact that they are so foundational, where we have multiple Switch systems, we have multiple consoles. We might be going back and forth between different houses and we might need to download one of our files from the cloud. That makes perfect sense to me. So this is really, really crippling for those that might not be on the same system or in the same house at the same time all the time. And that is a big pain. But I did want to let you guys know that was happening. Again, not something that will impact me, as I am not going to be playing this, but definitely bad news for fans of the game. Now, finally, we mentioned this in the first article we talked about, but Animal Crossing New Horizons is getting seasonal updates and other free DLC starting on launch day. Animal Crossing New Horizons players will receive free content drops in the form of seasonal events and other updates, Nintendo announced during an Animal Crossing Nintendo Direct presentation on Thursday morning. The first of these post-launch add-ons will actually be available on the day of the game's release on March the 20th. This update will prepare New Horizons villagers for the celebration of Bunny Day in April, which appears to be an Easter-themed holiday. Who would have thought? I certainly would. Nintendo did not provide more specific timing on the Bunny Day in-game event, but Easter this year is on Sunday, April the 12th. Nintendo also announced a bonus for people who own both New Horizons and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, the mobile game that the company released in Android and iOS format in 2017. Those players will receive special items in-game, and Nintendo said in a news release, they added that players will adding it will provide further details in the future on Pocket Camp's Twitter account. There is no word yet on when this offer will go live. Images of the free cross-game content included OK Motors themed items for New Horizons, as well as Nook Incorporated and Dodo Airlines themed items that can be used in Pocket Camp. And so, Animal Crossing New Horizons will be the first entry in the life simulation franchise on the Nintendo Switch, with a special edition Switch launching the same week on March 13th as well. And so, there you have it. You are going to be getting seasonal updates, which I think is something that's kind of to be expected in today's day and age. Imagine launching a game and having no additional content. Now, some have done it. One that comes to mind right off the bat is, of course, you have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, one of the biggest games of 2019. No additional DLC, no additional content, just kind of existing there. And that's a fine game. It's good the way it is. Animal Crossing probably would have been the same way, but so many games continue to grow and evolve and get seasonal content that it makes sense that if you have ideas, go ahead and pursue them, and that's what the team behind the scenes of Animal Crossing is doing. So if you want to pick up New Horizons, plenty of opportunity to do so, and of course, once again, it is coming out on March the 20th of 2020, but if you want to get that special edition Switch, that's coming out 1 week prior. Now, moving on. Facebook and Sony have pulled out of GDC due to coronavirus concerns. Facebook and Sony on Thursday announced they will pull out of next month's GDC, Game Developers Conference, in San Francisco due to ongoing concerns with the coronavirus outbreak. GDC is always a highlight of our gaming event lineup. However, the health of our employees and the wider games community comes before anything else, Facebook said in a blog post. Due to the evolving health concerns surrounding COVID-19, COVID-19, aka Of course, the coronavirus, Facebook's AR/VR and gaming teams will not be attending GDC this year. Facebook typically uses the conference each year to make announcements for its Oculus VR division and its other endeavors in gaming. A company spokesperson said Facebook will still make its planned announcements, but it will do so in a digital format, and the company said it plans to return to GDC in 2021. Sony, the maker of the PlayStation game console, issued a similar statement on Thursday, saying it would not participate in GDC in 2020. Sony's decision to pull out was first reported on by GI.biz, of course that being gamesindustry.biz. We have made the difficult decision to cancel our participation in Game Developer Conference due to increasing concerns related to, of course, the coronavirus, Sony said in a statement. We felt this was the best option as the situation related to the virus and the global travel restrictions are changing daily. We are disappointed to cancel our participation, but the health and safety of our global workforce is our highest concern. GDC is still scheduled to take place, but a spokesperson for the conference said it is taking measures to keep attendees safe. The GDC team is following developments around the novel coronavirus closely as we take the health and safety of our game development community very seriously, a spokesman for the GDC told CNBC in a statement. Following the strict quarantine laws put in place by the U.S. government and guidance from the Department of Public Health, WHO, and CDC, which has seen us put in place enhanced on-site measures, we are confident that the Game Developers Conference will follow in the footsteps of other large and successful international events taking place at the Moscone Center. Facebook will also not send any employees to PAX East, a gaming convention scheduled to take place in Boston from February 27th until March the 1st. A Facebook spokesman said the company is unable to send employees to PAX East due to concerns about the coronavirus, but it is, quote, eager to attend and participate in future PAX events. The fast-spreading virus has infected more than 75,000 people, up from just 282 cases as of January the 20th, and spread from 4 countries to more than 24 in that time frame. Now, this is an interesting piece of news because mainly you had, of course, Sony pulling out of PAX East earlier this week for the same exact reason. Now you see not only PlayStation and Sony pulling out of GDC, but you see Facebook pulling out as well. And so I think this proves, as we got a comment yesterday that said this is just Sony trying to find some kind of excuse to get out of the conference, this is genuinely a concern. And I think that a lot of people forget that these conferences, they do have international attendees. And so to invite people from around the world sounds good on paper, but whenever you have an international health crisis, to bring people from dozens of countries into one specific location probably is not the best idea, especially when there are door handles and water fountains and toilets. That's just a hive for breeding of various bacteria. So it makes sense for Sony and Facebook to pull out, but GDC is certainly going to be filling that sting whenever the show does roll around, because those are a couple of big names in the gaming space to be dipping out this late in the game. However, don't worry, you can still stay at home and play Fortnite and avoid any kind of flu or plague or anything right now, because, of course, Season 2 for Chapter 2 is all about secret agents and Deadpool. Fortnite might be one of the biggest games in the world, but the Battle Royale shooter has certainly had its problems over the past few months. Thanks to a mix of the Christmas holidays and the introduction of a new game engine and various other development issues, Epic Games' main issue was that it was forced to delay the second installment of Chapter 2, leaving players to enjoy the longest season on record. Thankfully, all of that changes today with the introduction of Season 2, Top Secret. As you can see from the trailer above, the new update has a distinct spy theme, offering a variety of new covert operatives that include a human-cat hybrid called Meowscles and a customizable Maya skin that can be upgraded to look different to any other player in the game. Oh, and Deadpool will make an appearance, as well as the secret Battle Pass skin, along with its own set of challenges. Players will be asked to choose a side, Ghost or Shadow, and complete missions to earn Battle Pass variants for each of the new characters. Finish the challenge table missions and other in-game requirements to get 1,500 V-Bucks, Epic says. In keeping with the top secret theme, Epic has added a giant luxury yacht, an oil rig, a fortified volcano hideout, an island mansion, and an agency headquarters as new points of interest, mixing up a map that has admittedly become stale after 4 months with almost zero changes. Once a side is picked, the company encourages players to infiltrate enemy bases, neutralize the henchmen guards, and face off against their leader to snag unique and powerful weapons. Hideouts also feature secret passages to random items inside the map, auto turrets, and security cameras, while new weapons like decoy grenades, proximity mines, and disguises even help the odds. It appears the bases are home to NPCs that can be eliminated to help meet goals, all while Incredibles-like music plays as players enter the special location. If everything goes to plan, Season 2 will end on April the 30th, which is roughly 10 weeks away. That will be a relief to players who are tired of the Season 1 grind and crave fresh, regular updates, and as usual, the Battle Pass will cost 950 V-Bucks, normally around 10 bucks. And so, of course, you can check out these trailers for yourself, but if you are still into Fortnite, then by all means, Season 2 Chapter 2 is upon us now, so dive in and get going on that new skin grind, that new Battle Pass grind. And Deadpool skin is the coolest thing out of this entire announcement, hands down. But of course, we've been talking for a long time about Google Stadia versus Project xCloud versus now GeForce Now, and Cyberpunk 2077 will be streamable on day one with the brand new NVIDIA streaming service. The best of both worlds. Here's a cool thing. If you're getting Cyberpunk 2077 on Steam, you will also be able to play the game on launch day with NVIDIA's GeForce Now. The service has free and paid options and lets players stream supported titles to nearly any laptop, desktop, Mac, Shield TV, or Android mobile device. NVIDIA did not have much else to add. Reminder, Cyberpunk 2077 was recently delayed and it's not coming until September the 17th, but $4.99 per month founder players can benefit from RTX. The game will be fully optimized and instantly available even on your Mac laptop, according to NVIDIA. As for potential GOG compatibility with GeForce Now, something a fan asked about on Twitter, we'll see. NVIDIA simply said it's always looking for new ways to support the games you love and play. The one hurdle holding me back, the author says, from trying GeForce Now is my monthly data cap, which worries me to no end when it comes to lengthy streaming-based play sessions. Otherwise, I would be all over it, says Jordan DeVore over at Destructoid. I've seen people mention Cyberpunk 2077 as their possible intro to Google Stadia, so this is a big deal, and that's the point that I want to make and really drive home here. Now, of course, Google Stadia is struggling right now, continuing to struggle, because even the games they have announced are not that impressive and or available elsewhere. And so to see that Cyberpunk 2077, what was going to be a headlining moment for Google Stadia, coming to other streaming services that have been better received by the community, that's not a good piece of news for the team at Google, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because at the end of the day, any kind of gaming service is chosen to be the victor by an evolutionary kind of system, because the survival of the fittest is very much so present in the gaming industry, and so the best service is going to win, and right now that does not look to be Stadia. But we will have to wait and see what happens. September is a very long time away, and that is a millennia in the gaming culture, so we might be getting a bit of a comeback from Google Stadia. But it looks like they also definitively have some competition. But finally, to round out today's show, I've got some freebies to let you know about. Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Faeria are now free on the Epic Games Store. The EGS, Epic Games Store for short, continues its freewheeling ways today with a two-way giveaway of Faeria, a digital card game based on a living board, and the brother and sister murder sim Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Syndicate is obviously the big name this week, although it was not great. We stuck it square in the middle of our 2018 rankings of Assassin's Creed games, saying that Victorian London makes for a dazzling setting, but that the game itself did so little to advance the formula and distinguish itself from the rest of the games, it ended up being oddly forgettable. Still, it is a full-on Assassin's Creed game, and it's far from the worst of the bunch. And it's free. Faeria might actually be a more interesting game set for the week, at least in terms of being something a little different. We did not review it, but Jody was quite taken by it in his 2017 preview, saying its living board makes it stand out from the card game crowd. It was also given a fairly hefty update for its launch on the Epic Games Store, appropriately entitled the Epic Update, with new features and upgrades, including new PvP map rotations, in-game leaderboards, a new animated intro, user reporting, UI improvements, and controller support. And so if you want to pick up either of those games, they're free, so why wouldn't you? Assassin's Creed Syndicate is an interesting one. I played it back whenever it launched. Not that great, but not bad either. It's a cool setting, but the characters are overwhelmingly forgettable, and it certainly is not good, or not as good as the more recent Assassin's Creed games, but it also has fewer RPG elements. So if you like the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood to Assassin's Creed 3 kind of setup, you're probably going to be a big fan of this one. I would also say it does have gameplay similar to Black Flag, and I would say that also applies to its traversal as well. So anywhere in between there, you'll probably enjoy Syndicate, but again, it's free, so dive in and check it out, or you can check out Faeria, which is again a free card game on the Epic Games Store. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed this one, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about today's news, specifically Animal Crossing or, of course, Facebook and Sony pulling out of GDC. I would love to hear your thoughts. But until tomorrow, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.